Okay, so we just wanted to give you guys a quick update. We have been on the mission field for 9 months in 2019. We came back to America for a few months, and our plan is, as of right now, we have tickets to depart on May 5th. We don't know what that's going to look like because unfortunately Kenya has closed the international borders, and so there's no flights
flights going
in or out of the country, and we don't know if that'll change by May 5th. But you guys can continue to pray with us about that.
We also have some visa things in the work for Anne Marie, and so we just ask for your prayers. We're believing for a God-sized miracle because we know that our God can do it.
Yeah.
So we're just asking that you would pray with us over Anne Marie's visa.
Now you say, why do you want to go back to Kenya? You know, what's there? Kenya is our mission field. Kenya is where our heart is at. Kenya is where our daughter's from. Kenya is the place where we want to get back to so we can continue the work that God has already started. Many stories about Africa, they start with, oh, it's hot, it's dry, it's dusty. Everything that stings are pricks or bites.
That's right. We have all of the dangerous animals.
What are those?
Lions, hippos, rhinos.
Cobras.
Crocodiles.
Crocodiles.
My southern's coming out. I want to say alligators.
Yeah.
Crocodiles. If there's a deadly animal, you're going to find it in Africa, especially Kenya.
That's right. And, a lot of the stories about Africa start that way. But I want to tell you a secret. Whenever the British inhabited Kenya, they called it God's country.
That's right. Because
you can go to an area where you see this snow-capped mountain that's 10 miles from the equator. And then you go to another area of the country and the soda lakes are full of flamingos as far as the eye can see. Then you go to the coast, and Kenya has the #1 and #2 rated beaches in all of Africa. And then you go to the safari areas, and the safaris are the best in Africa. The Masai Mara is the northern part of the Serengeti and the Kenyan side of the border. And it's a concentration of these amazing animals that God has created. It's the most beautiful place in the world.
That's right. And we promise if you ever come on a trip, we will take you on safari. And with God's will, you won't die.
That's right. We have a pretty good track record so far. So with that being said, where we live in Nairobi, you guys are going to really hate me whenever I tell you that it's about 70 degrees year round. If it gets really hot, it's in the low 80s. If it's really cold, it's in the upper 60s. Year round, that's our temperature. Kenya grows the best tea in the world. Kenya has these amazing coffee farms, and it's just an amazing place to live.
Yeah, we have been so blessed to call Kenya home, and we are really excited to get back there either sometime in May or June. We do have a team coming this year in July, and we're really excited to go into a new people group that Kody has been to previously. And he just felt this is an unreached people group. And Kody just felt a burden for these people. And we had not been able to get back over there. But this team's going to be coming and they'll be doing some bush camping, which Kody is really excited about. They're going to be really roughing it for multiple days. And this is not American roughing it. This is Kenya roughing it, which is really, really roughing it. But they're going to have a great time. They're really going to see God move. We've done these trips previously with the other missionaries that we worked with, and we have never seen God move like he has in those rural bush tent camping trips.
What does that entail? That entails us bringing all of our tents and food and equipment, setting up a tent site, camping so that we're nearby villages that we can reach. The people that we're going to be ministering to are 4% evangelical, and the Lord is starting to open up doors for them to receive the gospel. Just 2 years ago, the New Testament was dedicated for the first time in their language, and so now we're able to reach them. Kenya has, as we talked about the diversity and in the geography, Kenya has an amazing diversity in the people. There are 42 different tribes. Every tribe speaks a different language. Every tribe has their own culture, and each tribe is different. Just like this tribe we're going to is 4% evangelical. As we go into the cities, many times in Nairobi, you encounter people that are almost post-Christian, where they've been third and fourth generation Christians raised in the church, and now the young folks are rebelling and running away from God. So it presents
like a lot of Americans.
Exactly. It presents a different challenge for us, and each area has new challenges and also new opportunities. In the inner cities, we're able to engage youth on. We just started this program that teaches film and photography.
It's really exciting.
And they've actually produced their first work of where they compiled videos that they shot, that they produced. They wrote the scripts. They edited the video.
And the actors are people from the community.
The actors are people in the community. It was shot in the community. And it was what the birth of Jesus would have looked like if it was set in 2019 in the inner city of Nairobi. And so these are some of the amazing things we can do with young people to reach them where they're at, to engage them with the gospel, to give them practical life skills. As these young folks love film and photography, and it's a marketable trade. So whenever we engage them, we engage people spiritually, but we also engage them practically, where the gospel is not just, it can transform on many different levels, let's say that way.
That's right. And so we're really excited to expand upon that and to see how we can further connect with this community we've already started with, but then other communities as well, because God is really just giving us some inroads, and we're really excited to see how our ministry is changing over the years. So far, I mean, every trip back, we feel like, oh, this is new. And this next one, we just know it's going to be even better. We have a shipment coming. You want to tell them about the shipment?
So in the past, we've gotten 2 shipments of study Bibles from Barbier Ministries. They've sent us, over the last few years, they sent us 75,000 study Bibles for pastors. This year, we're getting another 25,000 study Bibles for pastors. But on top of that, we're also getting 20,000 New Testament study Bibles for inmates, because God has opened up doors for us to go into the prison system, and we want to have something to be able to put in those prisoners' hands.
That's right. We have gotten the opportunity to go into 3 different prisons in Kenya. 1 women's prison, 1 men's prison, and then 1 men's maximum security prison. And we have seen God move miraculously. When we were in the women's prison, those women who are shackled, they are not free. They worshiped more freely and more truly than I've ever experienced in my life. And so to see someone who is not free worship freer than anybody else, I mean, it just shows you that God is moving. And so not only are the leaders getting to learn about God, now the inmates themselves are going to be able to dig in for themselves. And we just can't wait to see what God does and how he changes the prisons from the inside out. We're just believing that God, and we are believing, we want you to believe and pray with us that God will just do something miraculous. Yeah. And so that when people start going into the prisons, they'll say, this is different. Like what is different about this place? That's what we're believing for. We're believing for revival in the prison system in Kenya.
That's right. He's already starting to do it in different areas. We had revival this past year with a team that came to Revivalist. And then going into the future, we see this ministry as really one that's going to empower and train young leaders to be missionaries to their own people. In Kenya, we have still 5 million people that live in unreached people groups. Now, unreached in this context means that they don't know a Christian. They don't have a church on their nearest street corner. And most of the time, there's very few church planting activities geared towards their communities. So whenever we go into these to Kenya, we can train young folks that have a heart for God to be leaders in their own communities and reach out in a missional sense.
Now, Kody, why can't we just raise up missionaries here in the U.S. and bring them over with us? Why is that not a good idea?
Well, first off, whenever we enter into new communities, there's a lot of barriers to entry to sharing the gospel. So just me, whenever I go into a new community, I look very different. And then second, I speak a different language. Third, I have a completely different culture.
That's right.
And many times all of these things present barriers to communicating the gospel to other people. And so whenever you have someone who may not be of the same tribe, but they were born in the same country and they're very near culture. They speak similar languages. They look very similar to the people that we're engaging. It reduces the amount of barriers that have to be crossed to communicate the gospel. And so whenever we train young folks and we train people to be missionaries, as they come out of theology school, we can take them and train them to be specifically missionaries. And this will help us to reach those 5 million people across Kenya. And then next to Kenya, we have Somalia, we have South Sudan, we have Ethiopia, many hard countries to share the gospel with and that are going through different turmoils. And so as we can raise up young folks in Kenya and send them out into Kenya, into East Africa, and across the world, that's our hope and our goal.
That's right. And we've had a motto our entire ministry, and it is, if no one ever knows our names, then we have done our job. Yeah. And that's what we want, because if everyone was self-reliant on us, which could easily happen, it's easier, honestly, just to hand out money than it is to put these other practices into place. But we know one day, whether that's us going to heaven or moving on to a different country, one day we won't be in Kenya. And if everybody is relying on us, the ministry will fall. And we want God to be famous. We don't want us to be famous. We don't want, if no one knows our name in Kenya and even here in the U.S., then we've done our job. We just want God to be famous.
As long as the ministry's going forward,
right.
As long as the ministry's being taken care of, it doesn't matter who knows our name, as long as they know Jesus.
That's right.
Now in this next year, as we return, we are going to have some unique challenges. We're in the same place for about 3 years.
Wow.
We had to move out of that place before we left Kenya. And so now whenever we return, we're going to be looking for a new house. But the place we used to live was fully furnished.
That's right. So in Kenya, there are no stoves in the kitchen, no refrigerators, washer, dryers. If we can find our washer and dryer, we will be really blessed. But we will have to buy everything: couches, table, chairs, beds, multiple beds. We will have to furnish everything. So imagine completely starting over. That is what we're having to do. And unfortunately, we can't bring things from the U.S. with us. We can bring a few things, but not the big items that we need. So we are really needing the finances to bring with us so that we'll be able to start over and to buy everything we need to quickly.
And we have to buy Meaghan a town car. And so we had been renting a vehicle. It's just not practical for us to continue to rent a vehicle. So with those two things, we had started to build up cash reserves, and now we're starting to dip into those cash reserves because of everything going on and the uncertainty in our society right now. Right. So if you guys could be in prayer with us for that. We appreciate your one-time gifts. Yes, we appreciate your monthly support, your monthly commitments. Keep us on the field.
That's right.
And not having to worry about raising support while we're overseas. So we thank you for partnering with us in those ways. We thank you for partnering with us in prayer.
That's right.
You'll never know how it feels to be 8,000 miles away from home. You have an issue that you can't really explain to your friends and family, even if you could get a hold of them, being 9 hours time difference. And to know that there are people that are continually lifting you up in prayer, it's almost a tangible feeling.
That's right.
So
we just want to say thank you so much. We hope that we'll get to see each and every one of you before we leave. Unfortunately, that might not happen. So this is our way of saying hi, we love you, and thank you so much for your support. Take this as our virtual hug to you.
Yeah.
We love you guys so much. Thank you so much for your support. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this broadcast of Sent Cinema, where we highlight the mission of God and those that He is sending out. Please subscribe to our YouTube page and like and share this video recording.